Americans are leaving America, and it is not for vacation. It's for survival. A growing wave of Americans are packing up, terrified by Trump's dictatorship, Republican fascism, and Democrats' capitulation. Interracial couples, LGBT plus individuals, people of color, and intelligent people in general are seeing their rights replaced with restrictions. In Ireland, US passport applications hit their highest level in a decade, up 60% in just 2 months.
Americans are leaving the USA because they can't afford America anymore, making $100,000 a year, yet they feel suffocated financially because the price of things keep going up. They keep printing money and the wages ain't going up, all right? Matter of fact, there's job loss and there's cuts and all kinds of stuff going on. So once people leave that kind of environment and they go somewhere else and they realize life is supposed to be lived, it's supposed to be simple, it's supposed to be much more about enjoying your health and your family and your loved ones and your purpose and all of these things, rather than spending most of your life at work. What kind of a freaking life is it if you don't do what you love? If you do what you love, cool, man, knock yourself out. I do what I love. Most people, 80-something%, don't do what they love. They don't like their job, and if they didn't have to work their job, they wouldn't work their job. So I know if you've watched this far, it's speaking to you. Maybe this is the sign you need to start doing some research to learn how to begin to devise your escape plan and live a better life. Because you know what? If what you're doing is not working, continuing to do the same thing, they call that insanity. You might want to book that flight. See you soon.
Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm your host Team Tesi Reaction. Kindly for watching me for the first time, remember to subscribe, like, share and comment. So guys, I want us to continue watching this video. It's all about Americans are forced to leave their own country. So kindly guys, let's watch this video until the end and then we'll come back with more reaction.
Best advice I could give any young person, because when you go, you will see a whole new world. You'll learn another language. You will find out that there's so much of the shit that goes on in this country is just fake. You will cure yourself from toxic people, toxic food. I guarantee you after a month, you won't even think about this place. And if you decide to come back, you will dominate just like the immigrants do that come over here, because all the opportunities that were in front of you that you just didn't see, they will be blaring at you in the face. Leave the country. Go experience another culture. Learn another language. You will learn more about life. You will learn more about yourself doing that than you will spending 20 years in college. It is the greatest gift you will ever give yourself.
You know, because America is just ghetto as fuck and has been for quite some time. So this is a very great question that was asked on one of my videos that I did yesterday that got a lot of commentary. For all of you guys that are on talking about something, you ain't about to do it anyways, I'm ignoring you. I don't even care about your comment. But what I'm here to do is be a resource for those of you who want this information. So I saw a lot of comments under the video asking, case in point, where are people going? All right. I also saw a comment that was quite interesting and said, well, we aren't accepted most places. Like, where is that information coming from? I find that comments like that oftentimes come from people that have not traveled. They ain't been nowhere but outside their own neighborhood, okay? So the list of countries that I'm going to give you, they are also very welcoming to African Americans. If you feel like you want to stay closer to the United States, then you don't want to obviously go further out to like a Bali or Thailand. But these countries, you want to start by researching what the visa processes are. You want to see what the financial requirements are for you to be in that country legally, because I would never say plan this, start planning and be in a country illegally. All right. No, we're not doing that. So here is a list of countries that you can start researching for yourself and get the information. I'm here as a resource. If you would like to book a consultation with me, you can. All right, here we go. Ghana, Belize, Portugal, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, Thailand, Mexico, Bali, Philippines, and Vietnam. Now, some of these places you might be thinking to yourself, what? Wow. See, that reaction, it automatically goes away when you travel to these different countries. And that's why I like traveling so much, because when you travel outside of the United States, you learn that the cost of living is cheaper. You can live way less than what you lived on in the United States. The food, it's much better. They're not sprayed with all of these pesticides and GMO products, right? Oftentimes, when you go outside the United States and stay for at least a month, your health is going to change. The air is different. You know, they judge us really hard in the United States as it relates to our credit. When you move outside of the United States, people don't care about what your credit looks like. And you can go and apply for an apartment in the United States and get denied for a home loan, for a car loan, based off of your credit. That is non-existent in another country. The quality of living and the peace that you experience, even while traveling, and for myself and just living abroad and traveling so much, the peace that I have experienced has been a peace that I have never experienced inside the United States. The freedom that I have experienced by traveling and being outside of the United States has been a freedom that I have never experienced inside the United States. It's been a freedom that I didn't even know that I needed. The quality of life outside of the United States is just better. You know, everything in the United States we know is just big and grand. You know, if you go to McDonald's, you got a Big Mac, you got a large fry, an extra large soda. Why do you need all of that? You don't need all of the stuff that we have accumulated in the United States. You get up, you work your 9-to-5 job, and that is the only thing that we are accustomed to, that we are programmed to understand in our lives, that we are just worth working a 9-to-5 job and that we don't have time to do anything else. There is more to life than just working and living paycheck to paycheck. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I always say that your gifts will make room for you. And I truly believe that. There have been numerous amounts of expats that I've talked to, even myself. Your gifts will make room for you. If you don't have a remote job, okay, I get it. What skills do you possess that you can offer? What service can you offer to people in another country that will bring in a constant income for you living abroad? Ask yourself that. Now, obviously, when you want to move out of the country, this is a research-based decision that you need to do. I recommend narrowing this list of countries down to 2 or 3 places, have your passport ready, and take some time and travel to at least 2 to 3 of these countries to see what feels like home to you. After you do that, then start planning.
Americans are leaving the USA because they can't afford America anymore, making $100,000 a year, yet they feel suffocated financially because the price of things keep going up. They keep printing money and the wages ain't going up, all right? Matter of fact, there's job loss and there's cuts and all kinds of stuff going on. So once people leave that kind of environment and they go somewhere else and they realize life is supposed to be lived, it's supposed to be simple, it's supposed to be much more about enjoying your health and your family and your loved ones and your purpose and all of these things, rather than spending most of your life at work. What kind of a freaking life is it if you don't do what you love? If you do what you love, cool, man, knock yourself out. I do what I love. Most people, 80-something%, don't do what they love. They don't like their job, and if they didn't have to work their job, they wouldn't work their job. So I know if you've watched this far, it's speaking to you. Maybe this is the sign you need to start doing some research to learn how to begin to devise your escape plan and live a better life. Because you know what? If what you're doing is not working, continuing to do the same thing, they call that insanity. You might want to book that flight. See you soon.
Americans are leaving America, and it is not for vacation. It's for survival. A growing wave of Americans are packing up, terrified by Trump's dictatorship, Republican fascism, and Democrats' capitulation. Interracial couples, LGBT plus individuals, people of color, and intelligent people in general are seeing their rights replaced with restrictions. In Ireland, US passport applications hit their highest level in a decade, up 60% in just 2 months. France is seeing long term stay visas for Americans up 20%. Portugal, Spain, UK, relocation companies can barely keep up with the demand. Traffic to Blacksit Global, which helps Black Americans relocate, surged 50% after the election. Some are leaving quietly, like a trans couple in Colorado, because Trump wrongly says there are only two genders. States are moving to ban gender care, so they're planning their exit. Google searches for how to leave the US spiked after the election, and real estate deals for Americans in Spain surged before the Golden Visa program was shut down. European culture is different than American culture, and many won't adjust. And of course, Europe has its issues: immigrations, taxes. Putin expected to take Moldova and then Romania with his eyes on the rest of Europe for the new Russian Empire. But a possibility of another European war is a safer bet than staying in a country that is already a fascist dictatorship.
As Americans, we work way too hard. I've been traveling and been here in Belize for the last couple days. And here's what I realized from and learned from people in other countries, that they work smarter and not harder. If you own a little shack on the side of the road selling oxtails and jerk chicken, guess what? You're not bringing all of this meat because you know it might spoil. You bring in just enough so that you can get through the day. And once you sell out, you sell out. You going and you relaxing by the beach for the rest of the day. Americans, we want to work, 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 work.
So in America, lots of us work multiple jobs, and you have to because the cost of living is so high. So we're constantly trying to climb the corporate ladder, constantly trying to get higher paying jobs. And I'm speaking for that myself. I tried to climb the corporate ladder for the last 10 and 12 years, and you're always grinding and pushing. But I noticed here in Belize, it's not that way. People make just what they need, and that's all they need to live, and no one's overstressed, working multiple jobs. They're enjoying their life.
And I really think that we need to ask ourselves, like, why, as a culture, do we think having more is actually better? I'm guilty of this too, right? I'm so guilty. My family is guilty of it. My husband is guilty of it. But one of the things that I have learned by traveling so much is that people actually live below their means. Oftentimes in America, we live higher than our means, right? We got all this debt, we got a car payment, we got this big fancy house, and nothing is wrong with that. But what I'm saying is traveling so much has really opened my eyes to, I've been doing it all wrong since I've been alive. Like we just been working, struggling. And for what? To pay into the Social Security system that might not be even available when I get to be the age of 65? That's a whole nother subject. Listen, y'all, however you can obtain living your best life, I encourage you to go after it. Go after that happiness. And if you can travel the world so that you can start to see how other people live in the world. I'm not saying that you have to move out of the country, right? But if you choose to, know that you're ultimately going to live a better life outside of the United States because it's a different type of culture. People want to relax. People don't look at their job as actually a job. People look at their job. I spoke to someone yesterday. He said it's just them being on vacation. They're making money, taking advantage of the tourists, right? Because they're getting the tourist money. So if they feel like they want to open up their shops at 3 p.m. and close down their shops at 7 p.m. because they already made their money and now they have the rest of the night to socialize and dance and have a great time, that's what they're doing in other countries. Something to think about. They're not working until they die and then don't have anything to show for it. But 50 and 60 years of working, you can't travel because you live in paycheck to paycheck. You can't see the world because you can't get the time off and you're afraid of what your boss going to do. It's just all toxic. Something to think about.
I keep seeing videos of white American people saying that they want to flee America and they don't know where to go. That's right. White Americans are trying to flee America and they don't know where to go. And I never thought that I would live to see the day when white Americans were too terrified to be in the country. I mean, these are people who moved to America, terrorized the Native Americans, or their ancestors terrorized the Native Americans. They made life so hostile for the black people who were stolen from Africa and taken to the Americas to pick cotton. And God knows how the black people survived in America because what they went through. I've only just been reading the history of slave trade because they don't teach us that in Africa. Even if they mention it in school, they say slave trade, but you don't actually know the brutality of the slave trade and how much white Americans fought to keep slavery. They fought to keep slavery. And when slavery was over, they were determined to make life impossibly difficult for black people. And life is very hostile for black people, even to this day in America. I remember being in America and being so shocked at just how hostile the whole place feels for a black person. And now I am seeing white Americans finding America too hostile and deciding to leave. And this is the thing that people have never come to accept. And this is it. I'm just a quiet observer. Having been born and grown up in Kenya, never really having encountered white people at all. And just going to America and just wondering, wow, like I have never known such hostility. And it's only now I am spending a lot of my time reading history about the slave trade, about the treatment of blacks, and just how much life was truly impossible for a black person, whether in London, whether in Europe, whether in the Caribbean, in the West Indies, in America. And the black people are so resilient in America because they have fought and just continued and just continued. But it's so incredible seeing people asking where they should go and what to do. This is literally what happens to millions of people around the world. People destabilized by American bombs. People destabilized by Americans' foreign policy that for the last however many years has sought to destabilize any countries that looked as though they were rising above the surface and they were on the way to becoming, a somebody. They would destroy that country. Libya, Somalia, and all the covert operations by the CIA in countries around the world, they destroyed them. And now all it took was Donald Trump and Elon Musk, a born-sworn colonizer. We are living through times that our ancestors could never have foreseen.
Guys, welcome back. So Americans are forced to leave America. Those are the worst people who is the owner of the America, but now are planning to leave the America. I have one of my neighbor who have just left the America, and she's complaining about the cost of living. This is some of things that is making people and white America to leave America. Number one is about the cost of living. So cost of living is the most people can unable to pay to survive in America because cost of living is too high. So it has now reached a time that these people, they are tired of living in those countries. So they are now planning to come back to our country. And I said earlier in this channel that for the coming years, we will see white people now coming and living in Africa because of what? Lives now in United States so expensive. So somebody cannot manage to pay bills in United States to have the better living. So he or she just decided to come back to our country. We have seen how really people come out and advising people that America is no longer a great nation. In fact, America is going to be a very poor nation now because of what? The policies that is here by the Donald Trump. Now people are whites have now realized that African were rights for forcefully leaving the United States, and some of these people that is living in the United States also the farmers, as we all know that there is ongoing that is going through in United States about the MAGA farmers who are now crying that there is no any labor can come and work on those farms. So it's better to, because of the ICE, those behavior of deporting people, and ICE is receiving the deportation message from the president of Donald Trump. So it has reached at a time that those deportation white farmers are now decided it's better to come in Africa and invest in Africa. I know a family that has been living here in Africa around 4 countries for more than 30 years and is living the better life because investing in United States is so expensive. That's why I normally advise if you have a dream of going to America, just cut that dream and study investing here because investing in America is so expensive because of policies over taxation. People are paying a lot of taxes in United States compared to we in Africa. You find that somebody maybe is being paid around $2,000 or let me use $2,000, but when you count in that guy is maybe remaining with maybe after paying bills maybe $70, maybe $700. That is you can find that more than a half of it went to tax. So and these policies of Trump deporting people, most of people are being deported and those people are maybe friendly to those white people. So when you deport your friends, so it's now reach a time that somebody can't survive without that friend. Both that friends were one who are working for their companies because a lot of those laborers workers were working with their companies. You find that now the company is collapsing because of what? There's not any person who can work on those companies. So those words are like closing that business and they better come and work here in Africa. I have a lady who is now living in Jamaica. That lady narrates how she's comparing the lives in Jamaica and the life in United States. You find that life in Jamaica is so cheap compared to United States because she was complaining about the bills. United States will pay a lot of bills, medical bills, even road bills. But here in Africa or Caribbean, there's no any bills that is being given. The only bill that we know is just a few of it. But there is just a discrimination. So we have good words that good Americans that really love we as the black people. Not all white people are bad. Most of them are good people, and that's why now they have decided to leave their country and coming back to live here in Africa. If you have watched that video very well, you have listened how the pain these people have gone through. In fact, this regime of Donald Trump have caused a lot of pain to white people. That's why now they have decided to come back here in Africa. And Africa, we welcome all because we don't have those culture of racism and maybe causing a lot of harms to those people. So kindly guys for watching me for the first time. I'm Timothy's Reaction, and kindly for watching, just hit that subscription button, like, share and comment. Let's interact on this video. If you are from America, tell us what is the challenges that you are facing in their country, because we have a lot of challenges that is going through on those countries. So let me see in comment section how the challenges that you are facing if you are in America. Bye for now. See you next.